Assalamualaikum. So you guys remember when I launched Baitul Amal, right? But recently I went to Abuja to get some books for the library there, and while I was there, I had also been invited to speak at YMGC, which is Young Muslim Agros Conference. And honestly, I was so excited, not because I was speaking, but because when I arrived at the venue, I almost forgot how to breathe. Guess what I saw? Sitting right there was Dr. Hifa Yunus. And if you followed me for a while, you know that I have watched her lectures for years. I love her lectures. And so imagine finally seeing someone you've admired from a distance for so long. I didn't even know whether to laugh, cry, or smile, or just stare at her. I was trying so hard to act normal, but inside I was screaming. But the event started, the speaker spoke, and alhamdulillah, everything went well. After my session, a lot of young Muslims came to me. Some wanted advice, some wanted to ask questions about Baitul Amal, my academy, content creation, and life in general. But after my speech, there was this lady that stood up. She looked about 19, 18, yeah, black hijab and a abaya, a microphone in her hand. At first, she seemed nervous. She was like, Sister Risqiyah, I just want to say something. And I smiled at her because she was nervous, of course. And she smiled back. Then she said, Sister Risqiyah, because of you, I stopped waiting for the perfect time to start. I used to think I needed more confidence, more experience, more knowledge before I could begin anything meaningful. But your story made me realize that growth doesn't start when you're ready. It starts when you begin. So today, alhamdulillah, I've started something I used to only dream about. You made me believe I could do more. And I won't lie, that almost made me cry. Not because she was talking about me, but because I saw my younger version of my inner child in her. Then she asked a question, a simple question, one that took me back to the exact moment everything changed. She said, Sister Risqiyah, how did all this start? And I smiled, and immediately my mind went back to March 2026. I was lying on my bed, supposed to be studying for JAMB, but instead I was scrolling all over social media. Although I had big dreams, I kept telling myself the same thing. I'll start later. I don't know enough yet. I'll do it when I'm ready. Little did I know that one scroll was about to change everything. At that point in life, I had dreams. I wanted to build an academy. I wanted to create content. I wanted to become a better speaker. I wanted to help Muslim women grow. But the problem wasn't that I lacked dreams. The problem was that I kept postponing them. Every time I wanted to start something, I had a reason not to. Like, I'll do it later after jump. I need to learn more first. I need to be more confident first. And somehow later never came. Then one evening, while I was scrolling through TikTok, I came across one of Mo's video. Now, if you know me, you know I've always loved Mo's content. I watched the video, then another video, then another. And while I was scrolling through his page, I came across a video about a book club he had founded called Amorfati. At first, I didn't think much of it. I joined the wait list and moved on with my day. And later that day, I got a message, and suddenly, what was just an interesting idea became a decision. The only problem I thought I had was money. I remember looking at the fee and immediately starting my usual excuses. Maybe I'll join next quarter, maybe after JAMB. So I reached out to him and explained my situation, and I told him I was preparing for JAMB and I wasn't sure I could commit. So I still remember one thing he said. He said the book club will help you realize that JAMB is easier than you think. But for some reason, that statement stayed with me. I still wasn't sure, so I called my mom, say, hey mom, say I want to call dad, what do you think? She was like, call your dad. So I called my dad, and when I explained everything to him, he simply said, if it's something that will benefit your life, then do it. That was it. No long speech, no dramatic moment, just a decision that would end up changing far more than I expected. So I joined Amufati. Honestly, I thought I was joining a book club. I had no idea I was joining a room full of people who were tired of making excuses, people who weren't just reading books, who were actually doing the work. And for the first time in a long time, I found myself surrounded by people who were serious with growth, people who challenged themselves, who implemented, who took action. And slowly something inside me started changing. For the first time, I could no longer hide behind I'll do it later. And one of the biggest lessons that stayed with me was simple: start before you figure everything out. And that lesson changed me because I realized I'd been waiting for confidence before action when I should have been taking action to build confidence. And honestly, that's exactly what happened. I stopped waiting. I registered my academy. I became more consistent with content creation. I started putting myself out there even when I felt unqualified. I stopped waiting to feel ready and started learning while doing it. And little by little, the dreams I had in mind started becoming real. And for the first time, I looked at my life and thought, wait, so this is actually happening. So when that young girl asked me how it all started, I smiled and said, honestly, it started with one decision: the decision to stop postponing my life. And she stared at me with pure admiration. And before I could say anything else, I felt a hand on my shoulder. I turned around and it was Dr. Hifa Yunus. She was smiling at me and she said, we are proud of you, and the Ummah definitely needs more women like you, so keep pushing. And at that point, I don't think I've ever felt happier. I looked around the hall, the girls, the speakers, the conversations, Baitul Amal, my academy, everything. And I remember thinking, Ya Allah, is this really my life? Then I had someone calling my name, Auntie Risqiyah. But I didn't see the person looking at me, the person calling me, sorry. I had the name again, but I didn't still see the person. Then he came again, this time louder. Auntie Risqiyah is calling you. I opened my eyes and my younger brother was standing beside my bed. I just stared at him because the conference wasn't real. Little Ahmad wasn't real. Meeting Dr. Haif wasn't real. The conversation wasn't real. Nothing was real. Like, I've been dreaming the entire time. And honestly, I was upset. Like, why would you wake me up at the best part? After a few moments, I became happy. I started laughing because I realized something. The fact that I could see that future so clearly means I haven't stopped believing in it. And maybe that's the point. Because a few months ago, I was the girl lying on her bed, scrolling, procrastinating, and telling herself she would start someday. Today, I am no longer waiting for someday, and inshallah, one day, Baitul Amal won't be a dream. It'll be a memory. Well, with that being said, I am being Sani, and I am living a life I'll gladly live again. See you on my next video, and Masalam.